on all the updates. I'm going to get started right away on the updates. I'm going to share my screen so everybody can see what I'm doing here. Okay, let me go back over here to the keynote and we will play this. This way, maybe we won't have you on here super long. It's not May 20th's update, but I'm kind of glad this date is here because I was trying to think, when did I actually give updates? So this is probably week 3. I must not have shown this last week. So it's going to give you some comparisons. So this is actually the June 2nd. But first of all, so I don't want to end my updates on scammers, right? What I want to do is, okay, I know I'm sharing my screen. Okay, you guys beware. If you guys are in Telegram, MoveQuest, we are not in Telegram. And we're not in Telegram on purpose because it is just riddled with scammers. And whoever the scammers are have hijacked my Lynette Artin handle on Telegram. And in order for me to get it back, I have to be able to access the email. Well, somehow they've changed the email from mine to theirs, so I just cannot get it back. And there is a MoveQuest official group in Telegram, and this just cracks me up. So I really want you guys to pay attention to this. One, focus on your common sense. Let your gut run with you. Okay. When you see something like this, if you have to question it, you know it's a scam and run. Okay. And I just had to crack up when I read this, and I'm like, okay, if anybody actually fell for this, and this might sound mean to say, do they actually deserve to lose their tokens? Because this should be common sense. And if you read the message, it says, due to a recent dip in MoveQuest's price, which I'm going to tell you guys, for a token that's not been on the market almost a year, we hold the highest market value of any move to earn token, and we hold the highest market value of most projects that get on the internet and are there, for a year. Most projects are here and gone by now. So our market value is actually very strong. But they tell you because of this dip, we're going to launch a 900,000 MoveQuest token airdrop. You know what that means? That means that we're going to give away 900,000 MoveQuest tokens. Now, is there anybody on this call that actually believes that I would even do something that stupid? If the price is dropping like they claim, why would you throw 900,000 MoveQuest tokens into circulation? What they want you to do is click that link, and the minute you do, it's a phishing link. You are giving them permission to access your wallet and take every single token that you have. There is never going to be a time ever that we even give away one MoveQuest token, much less 900,000 tokens. Now, if you do the math and you take it and you times that by $7.55, I'm not sure what the market value is right now, that would mean that we're giving away $6,795,000 worth of MoveQuest tokens on a token that supposedly is going through a price dip. Does any of that make sense? And if I actually would do something like that, I'm going to tell you every single one of you on this call should run for the hills, cash out your MoveQuest, and get as far away from me as you possibly can, because I'm about as dumb as a box of rocks. Okay. You can't, you would never want to follow me if I did something like that. That would be the most ridiculous thing I could ever do. Do not fall for this stuff. And then also pay real close attention to that link they put in there. On our Web3, you'll see app.movequest.com, and sometimes it'll be /dashboard or / this. Well, what they've done is they bought the domain app dash. Okay, the app dot is a true subdomain for MoveQuest, but app dash or app whatever they got up there, yeah, app dash MoveQuest.com. They actually purchased that domain with the app dash in there because it doesn't exist. So they're giving you a fake website. They've actually copied our website. They've like mirrored it, but with a different domain, but close enough to ours that you might actually fall for it. Never fall for this stuff. And if you guys are in Telegram and you're in a MoveQuest group, really hightail out of it because we're not there. Okay, you're being scammed. You're in a scammers group, and don't get caught that way. You're not going to get any information there. They're only looking to steal your tokens. Okay, enough on that. Now let's get down to the fun stuff about MoveQuest. I am going to show you a comparison. So on May 20th, we had 385,704 MoveQuest tokens in the hatchery. The wallet holders had 267,657 MoveQuest tokens in over almost 9,000 wallets, or a little over 9,000. The mining pool contract at that time still had 240,365 MoveQuest tokens. Every day, 2,500 are distributed through mining from your proof of physical activity. And the smart contracts were holding 7,600 MoveQuest. The ecosystem wallet, okay, this is the wallet that buys MoveQuest and pairs it and injects for liquidity. At that time, it had 5,378 MoveQuest tokens that it had purchased. Now, you'll see the MoveQuest tokens move into the vault from time to time, but when it's this low, it stays in that wallet so that it can just add liquidity. Because right now the vault's got, I think, 360 or 370,000 MoveQuest tokens that have been purchased from the ecosystem. The liquidity pool on May 20th had 63,922 MoveQuest tokens. The mining dock was holding 9,206 tokens. Now, when you add all of that up, the vault is currently holding 20,020,076. Okay, MoveQuest tokens. And that is the max supply that will be distributed between now and the year 2059. So when you add up all of the tokens, it comes to the max supply of 21 million. Okay, that was May 20th. Now, today, the hatchery has 396,027 MoveQuest tokens. That is an addition of 10,323 tokens that have gone into the hatchery. The circulating supply has actually increased to 285,629. That means that as people are mining the token, they're claiming it, and they're going into their wallets, and there's been an additional 17,972 tokens that have gone into the wallets over the last 3 weeks. The mining pool now has 196,734. We only have 58 days left of mining, I believe it is, before year one is over. And then we move into year two. Now, year four, we go through a halving, which we'll talk about that on another call. So that means that 43,631 MoveQuest tokens have been claimed from people's proof of physical activity over the last 3 weeks. Of that 43,000, 17,972 are still in wallets, or it's been added into the hatchery. The smart contracts have accumulated an additional 40 MoveQuest tokens, and I'll go over what those are. Smaller contracts. They really don't accumulate much of the MoveQuest. The ecosystem wallet is now holding 15,369 MoveQuest tokens. This means that over the last 3 weeks, the ecosystem has purchased 9,991 MoveQuest tokens. Okay, buys these tokens when liquidity and overselling is kind of balanced, and it'll bump the price back up a little bit. Now, if the overselling is too high, you won't see it increase the market value of the token. You'll just see it add liquidity. The liquidity pool now has 66,201 MoveQuest tokens. That means from the last 3 weeks ago, everything is balanced out to where really between the buys and the sells, we're only sitting at 2,279 MoveQuest tokens that have actually been sold. That's taken into account what's been bought, what's been sold. And I'm going to show you a different spreadsheet here in a minute. I'll show you how we get to those numbers. And then the mining dock has increased because as people unlock the mining dock slots, it requires MoveQuest. That MoveQuest sits there, and it is it just stays in that contract until the ecosystem needs it for liquidity. And so that's increased by 3,026 MoveQuest tokens. There again, if you add it all up, it balances out to 21 million tokens. And so you can see here, it's actually very strong if you look at everything. Hold on here a second. All right, now go on to the next sheet. This just gives you what year one distribution is. From the mining pool, 912,500 will go out from the proof of physical activity. For the first 183 days of mining, there's a mining pool reserve. When the mining pool hits about a $10 million mark, you'll start to see those reserve tokens go out. And that would be anybody who was mining from August 1st to January 31st. It's the matching tokens that you received. The hatchery, it actually has, I'm not sure how many days left, but anyway, 455,000 of those tokens, MoveQuest tokens, will be rewarded over the 222 days. At the time, this here I haven't updated. This is just giving you allocation to get to the 2,628,000. The liquidity reserve in the first year gets 803,000 of the MoveQuest tokens purely for liquidity. Okay, if you guys all are paying attention, even if you're new and you haven't been a part of the community for very long, the project, the ecosystem can never sell MoveQuest tokens, and there's been no allocation of tokens outside of the liquidity pool raise, which was 200,000, and then the liquidity that was added, there was 134,000 MoveQuest. So aside from that, there is no allocation of token to me, to the development team, to the design team, to any of our admins or customer support. Nothing. That's not one single MoveQuest has ever been allocated or given away. You have to mine them or buy them, period, even myself. And so it's a very clean tokenomics contract. There's no front loading. There are no investors that got 100,000 or 50,000 or 10,000. There's no influencer or builder or friend or anything. No special treatment, not even to my little puppy Charlie. Okay, nobody was ever given a single MoveQuest token. Therefore, there are no whales here. This is a completely anti-whale project. There are no investors that are going to wait till the price is up there so they can come in and dump all their tokens. It doesn't exist. So that should make everybody really happy too. Going to give you an update on the MoveQuest liquidity. We are only 23% away from being fluid. What does that mean? That means that we already hold the MoveQuest token, all right, with the current liquidity, with the current circulating supply. This doesn't include the hatchery. Those will be released, though after the 222 days, you'll start to see those MoveQuest tokens come out of the hatchery. Now, all of the AVAX fees that went to the hatchery has not been put into liquidity yet. Okay, that will begin to go into liquidity on day 222. Why? Because that stabilizes and continues to stabilize the market value for those who are earning or mining the MoveQuest tokens. And for those of you that came in the very beginning of the hatchery when we introduced it, we had to keep the supply up. You never want your MoveQuest tokens to get an inflated market value. And so for the first, I don't know how many days it was, maybe 100 days or something like that, anybody who put in, purchase miners using that MoveQuest in 222 days, not only did they get the rewards, but they get all of that MoveQuest back. And then we stopped that, I don't know, 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And that is our onboarding feature, or maybe June 1st we stopped it. I don't quite remember the exact date. And now you just onboard, you spend the MoveQuest to mint your miners, but you earn that daily reward through the hatchery based on the amount of MoveQuest that you spent to mint the miners. So at the end of 222 days, you get that additional mining reward from the purchase of your miners as long as you've submitted. So if you submit every day, you get the proof of physical activity, mining reward from the mining pool. Then you also get that additional bump from the hatchery. Now, with all that being said, if you look at what the liquidity is, we already hold the 600, where's it at here? We already hold the $569,000 worth of MoveQuest. Okay, basically, if you take that 500, I'm going to get my calculator out because I didn't put that on here. If you take the $569,263 worth of MoveQuest that would need to be paired to the USDT for liquidity to be fluid, divide that by $7.55. I think that's close to the market value. That would mean 75,399 MoveQuest tokens need to be paired to 569,263 USDT. Okay, we already hold all that. The ecosystem does because it's already buying and buying and buying. It's been buying it for almost a year now, right? Since August 1st. So it already holds 50% of that. What it's waiting on is the USDT. When it's paired to that 569,263, that means that every single person holding MoveQuest tokens would be able to sell them and get $7.51. That's a fluid liquidity pool. We're only 23% away from being fluid. That's very, very good. That's a great liquidity rate. So when you see people selling, don't get too discouraged because that just means you're getting closer to being fluid. And I'm going to share that here on the screen. I think a lot of people don't realize how the liquidity is actually working. So if you look at the screen all the way to the far right, you will see that there was only 44 MoveQuest buys, okay, in the last 24 hours. And that was the equivalent of $9,500, $9,500. There were 224 wallets that sold $20,000. But this is what your ecosystem does. Now, if there would have been, for example, 20,000 in buys, 20,000 in sells, this liquidity you see here, it would have bought 50% MoveQuest, driving the market up for the community, and then it would have injected the liquidity. Okay, it would have brought back the MoveQuest that it purchased, paired it to the remaining USDT, and it would have added it as liquidity, driving up the market for the buyers. It will not drive up the market for the sellers. So you have to understand this part of the ecosystem because I hear people say all the time, oh my God, I can't believe, look at the price and the ecosystem isn't doing anything. Well, heck no. Why would you want an ecosystem to drive the market value up when there's overselling going on, when the selling pressure is greater than the buying? And so what it does is it adds. So this is just in the last 9 hours. And if you add that up, that's a total of $36,944 that was added into the liquidity. That's almost $17,000 more than what was sold. And so just because you don't see the ecosystem driving the market up doesn't mean that the ecosystem isn't working behind the scenes. And so it doesn't do it every day. Sometimes, like today, it did it 4 times. Other days, it'll do it 8 times. It all depends on what the trends have been. This algorithm watches and pays attention to what is going on with the community. So if it sees a trend of increased growth within the community and the buys are matching the selling volume, or the buys are higher than the selling volume, you will see that ecosystem kick in and buy MoveQuest to drive the market up, bring that MoveQuest back, pair it to the USDT, and then add it as liquidity. Now, if the buy volume had been higher today, what would have happened is instead of only $37,000 going into liquidity, it would have been closer to $55,000 going into the liquidity. But the buys didn't come close to the selling pressure. And so what the ecosystem wants to do is pad in that liquidity more than what the selling was. So if everybody understands the dynamics of how this algorithm works, it will not drive the market value up for the sellers. It just won't do it. But if the buyers are here and they're buying while The sellers are having their heyday. The ecosystem will come in, it will do market corrections, and it will drive it back up for the buyers. It will continue to drive it up for the buyers, but it won't go above being 30% away from being fluid. So there's always about 7 to 10% wiggle room in there. So today, based on how close we are to being fluid, it could have given the market value, it really could have drove it back up into the $8.50 mark, or even closer to the $9 mark. But the buying wasn't there. And if it would have done that, you would have just seen even more selling. And so the ecosystem pads in that liquidity. So when it adds, see that first one, $3,812, the MoveQuest, that 500 it added, is equal to $3,812. Okay, so that addition right there was almost $8,000. If you look down at the very last one, $8,933, that's almost $9,000. That's almost $9,000 worth of MoveQuest. Okay, they have to be equal in value. And so there it added 18,000. The one above it, 2,200, so it added 4,400. And the one above that, almost 3,500, was another $7,000 liquidity addition. 50% of the MoveQuest in market value, and then 50% in the USDT. So I just wanted to really explain that because I'm not sure that everybody truly understands exactly how the liquidity works. Now, when that 222 days hits, that almost 400,000 MoveQuest that's in that hatchery, it's banked up a lot of AVAX in that 15% fee. And so that's going to really bump up the liquidity as that hatchery begins to release those MoveQuest tokens. So all of you who are in that hatchery, you shouldn't worry about that because the ecosystem manages everything. It reads all of these contracts and they sync together. They know what is happening. I know I talk about it like they're humans. They're not humans, but they're smarter than humans, right? Because they're paying attention to what's been going on for months and what the trends are, and they're very, very smart. Okay, so I created the algorithm, and it is working like a charm, and so we love that part of it. Now we're going to talk about the tokenomics a little bit and why we opened up the additional 9 doc slots. We have a roadmap, okay, that we have to meet. Year one, yeah, we had a lot of leeway because the community, it was going to grow slower. Obviously, we weren't marketing at a high level. We were still using test flight, not in the Apple store. A lot of things needed to take place. So now that we've got all the corporate documents in place, everything is all registered here in the United States. We're not offshore. We didn't run off to Dubai or anything like that, which we would have done had Trump not been elected, because Trump is crypto, supportive. It was a relief, really, because we could keep this registered and incorporated here in the United States. But moving forward and going into the App Store, okay, now it's time for us to really start ramping things up and meet what is in our light paper. And so by the end of year one on Avalanche, we did the 1 year proof of concept. We have to get everything where it's supposed to be. So we did unlock the 18 doc slots total, and up through, I believe, it'll probably take us up until the second year to open up 30 of the doc slots. Okay, but we have to reach certain community sizes. Now it's not based on a time frame as much as it's based on the community growth. We can open as many as 1,000 doc slots, but that would be when we had like 3 to 5 million people that are inside the project and mining, that you would be able to open up those doc slots. And I really don't ever see any reason to ever have 1,000 doc slots. But just letting you know that we did build into the infrastructure that amount so that down the road, if it ever did become necessary, it's already here. But at this moment, we only have plans to open up 30 ever at this time. So doc slot 1, everybody knows that's free. Now I want you to pay attention to this slide. I wish I could have put them side by side, but Keynote doesn't give me enough room to add in multiple spreadsheets. Everybody is familiar with what the prices are probably, and I call it tier 1 docs, tier 2 docs. Why? Because they're like the first 9, the second 9. And this also triggered a change in the evolution. So you have to understand this is a balancing act within the ecosystem. Okay, 90% of all of the fees that are transacted through this project go towards liquidity. Only 10% stays with the project, the creator, the developers, the designers, marketing. And trust me, if we do our job right and the community grows the way it's supposed to, that 10% is a lot of profit. We don't need 100%. Would be great, right? But that would be just like all the other projects and we would fail. The ecosystem needs to have that self-sustainable economy. It has to have a use for the token. It's got to have a viable way to stay alive. And so we don't ask the community to provide the liquidity. You're doing that through your interactions with the smart contracts. When you unlock these doc slots, and we did kind of change how we're explaining them just a bit. Doc slot 8 and 9 are your premium doc slots. Why? Because not everybody opens up beyond the doc slot 7. Okay, a lot of people just stayed right there, making 8 and 9 those premium slots. It really gives you quite the bump in what your mining power is by having those additional 2 slots. You'll notice that the doc slot 1 is free. It always will be. Anybody who downloads our app and gets linked up to their, gets their wallet connected and they approve the health options, for the steps, distance, workouts, calories, and sleep, they get what we call a phantom trailblazer. That means it's really not the actual NFT that you plug into the mining dock. It's a virtual miner that they get to use for 30 days so they can test the system. And as soon as you get your miners, we want everybody to be able to at least say, okay, I could start for free. So you get the Phantom Miner for 30 days. The first doc slot's free, always will be free. There'll never be a charge on that. The doc slot 2 through 7 requires MoveQuest. 8 and 9, AVAX. Why? Because the AVAX is converted to UST paired to the MoveQuest injected as liquidity. Now, when we opened up doc slot 10 through 18, which I believe happened yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, Monday. You'll see the fees are different. Why? Because the project does get 10%. This way, here with your mining doc, it ends up being almost 100% that goes into the liquidity, but it matches. Okay, so you can see 10 through 16 is AVAX. That's converted to USDT, and it can be paired to the MoveQuest that came in on slots 2 through 7. And then slot 17, 18 is MoveQuest. It's the same amount as is on this slide. And so that MoveQuest can be paired to this AVAX that's been converted to USDT and injected into liquidity. Now, when you look at these 2 slides, everything that takes place within this ecosystem, there's a reason for it. Now, when you come in and you unlock those doc slots, 9 times out of 10, you've already bought your miners through the hatchery. If you've got the vanguards, you're going to go over to the evolution most likely, and you're going to want to upgrade them to the titans. If you started with one of the lower level miners, navigators, trailblazers, eventually you're going to want to increase their mining power. And so you're going to evolve them, or you're going to upgrade them, or you're going to level them up. Well, because we did open up doc slots 10 through 18, it brought in the AVAX MoveQuest for the liquidity, which adjusted what the ecosystem needed from the evolution. Now you may wonder, okay, why the extra 9 slots? Because we're going to increase the MoveQuest. we've got to get the MoveQuest up to as close to 5,000 as possible by August 3rd. The only way to do that and not affect the ecosystem, because the ecosystem it balances, okay? It makes sure that the whole ecosystem stays stable for the community. You have to be able to increase that mining power with the existing community, and those that want those 18 slots, it's going to really bump up their mining power. It shouldn't have hardly any effect at all on those who don't want to do it. So if you're mining with a navigator, you're mining with 9 trailblazers, whatever that is, you'll probably still be mining roughly about the same amount as what you have been. Might give you a little bit of a bump up on your mining, but probably not much. But those who really want to ramp up what they're going to be mining in the MoveQuest, they're the ones that are going to take the lion's share of the increased MoveQuest that comes in, because they're mining with an additional 9 miners, whether they're navigators or all the way up to Titans. It's going to really increase what you're going to be able to mine. Now, if you think about it realistically, those who do open up those additional 9 mining dock slots, they do fill them. Yeah, you're going to spend double to submit because you're mining with double the mining power. But you're going to be getting more of that MoveQuest. People that do that, they're not really selling that MoveQuest. They're trying to bank it and stock up on it, so that when the demand is here for the token, they can sell it and they can get the highest market value possible. That makes them happy. They're not probably selling it to cover their submission fees. They're not probably selling it to open up their dock slots. Okay, when people are doing that, there's 2 reasons. One, they don't really have confidence in what they're in. And that takes a while for people to have confidence in something. Sometimes they, like, okay, how long can this sustain? Oh, the market value is dropping, but they don't understand how the ecosystem is working, like what I showed you with the liquidity. And so they take what they've been mining, they convert it, they sell it, and then they use it to come in and do whatever it is they need to do to level up or upgrade whatever the crypto is that it takes. And so when they do that, you got to remember that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's coming right back into the ecosystem, which means it's going right back into liquidity. So while it might not bump up the market value, it still stabilizes the liquidity pool. But what you really want are those holders. You want those holders to be mining that lion's share of that MoveQuest token, because they're not selling it. They're waiting for that market value to be at the price they want it to be at. And you're in a new project. Yes, we've been building this project and developing it for 4 years, but we are only on the Avalanche chain now for less than a year. It's new. In the selling that's taking place, it's like I said the other day. Yeah, it makes me proud that I can say that this project has created, enough liquidity that over $36 million has been sold of the MoveQuest for the USDT that has probably been cashed and taken to your bank. That's amazing. But imagine if the community had been a little more careful or reserved with that MoveQuest token, and they'd only sold $6 million worth of it, and you had a liquidity pool of $31 million. You'd be sitting on a token that was well over $100 right now. And it would be stabilizing at that market value. So a little bit of carelessness with the selling of the MoveQuest, which shows quite a bit of confidence there as well, because they're still mining, right? They're still submitting every day, even if they're selling it. They know it's still here. Some people kind of look at it like a salary or a paycheck. And hey, if it's changing your life, we're happy about that. There's nothing wrong with selling the MoveQuest token. Nothing. If you want to sell it, sell it. But those who are holding it, you want those holders to be the ones that have the lion's share of it. This is part of the mining difficulty. If you go back to, I was told the other day, so I'm not trying to use Bitcoin as an example to look naive, okay? I'm using Bitcoin as an example because it is the big bad boy on the market, right? And it is what you should really pay attention to, because it is the one that's got the $100,000 plus market value per token. And so I am a Bitcoin addict. I hold a lot of Bitcoin that I will never sell, that just sits there. I don't care if the market goes down. I don't care if the market goes up. I don't care if every single thing I own burnt down. I would not sell that Bitcoin for nothing because I know that Bitcoin will hit $1 million one day. And for people who think that it's still it's too late to get involved in Bitcoin, you're not understanding crypto. Okay, Bitcoin will hit $1 million. Mark my words, and we'll see it before any of us are too old to see it. It will happen, and it's not going to take very long to get there. Maybe another 10 to 15 years. It's going to get there. And so even if you only bought a smidgen of Bitcoin right now, you could still get wealthy off Bitcoin. So yes, I do pay attention to Bitcoin. Yes, I do pay attention to the dynamics of it. I watch the trends of it. It has been in a lot of my algorithms that I have designed for MoveQuest. And so when I'm talking about comparisons to the Bitcoin and the MoveQuest, I'm not doing it because I'm trying to sound naive like we are Bitcoin. But we have hit milestones faster than what Bitcoin did because I do use it as a relative point. And so those people who are holding that MoveQuest, it only takes a fraction of the people in MoveQuest to hit Bitcoin's prices. Okay, it took millions and millions and millions of people for Bitcoin to hit $100. It will not take millions and millions of people for MoveQuest to hit $100. It takes a few thousand people. And so as MoveQuest becomes more of that household name because people do have massive health benefits from it, and as more people begin to join our community and they begin to mine the MoveQuest tokens, you are going to see that market value go so much higher than what we've already seen it go. And our highest organically, legitimately, was $110, 125 over a FOMO market maker buy, but legitimately 110 is where MoveQuest actually hit. And so those of you who are holding that MoveQuest token, you're not selling it for your submission fees. You are going to be the ones that are cashing out the highest amount. You're the ones that are going to become wealthier faster. And the people who are selling right now, it's making a change in your life, and that's powerful. And so never feel bad because you sell MoveQuest. Never feel bad because you sell MoveQuest. MoveQuest is a complete, on its own project. It doesn't need somebody behind the scenes running it. It's all managed by smart contracts. So when we opened up these DAC slots, and by increasing the MoveQuest token, it's also increasing the difficulty of the mining. Okay, it's making it more competitive. If you want to mine, the top amount of MoveQuest, you've got to have the highest powered miners. You've got to have as many of those miners in play as possible, just like in the Bitcoin days. I could mine Bitcoin, believe it or not, on my laptop when Bitcoin first came out. And I actually did. And then it just got to be too difficult. And you had to increase from CPU to GPU. And then you had to increase, to even higher to the FG somethings, whatever they were back then. I can't even remember. Then you had to build machines that were in these big buildings, and you had to have cooling, and it's beyond that now. And so the mining difficulty always increases in any token. And so it will also, the mining difficulty will increase here, but the market value will go higher. So if you're mining with all 18 slots, yeah, it's going to cost you double, but you're going to be mining double, if not triple, what you're already receiving. And it could even go 4 times what you're actually mining. So I am going to give you this next sheet. June 9th, slots 10 through 18 open. June 10th, the algorithm adjusted on the evolution fees. I'm going to go over that here in a minute. June 15th, we're going to increase the MoveQuest to 3,000. That's an additional 500 MoveQuest tokens per day. We don't want all of the sellers to be getting that, a bunch more of that MoveQuest. Why? Because they're just going to sell it. But your holders, those that have spent the money for the miners, the Titans, the Vanguards, those 2 higher powered miners, the ones that open up those 18 DACs, those are your serious miners right there. Okay. And they're the ones that are holding. They're not the ones that are selling. The majority of them are. I'm sure there's some, but not the majority. If you look at wallets, and I don't know who people are, but the system will look at the wallets and what selling trends are. We have no idea who they are. But it's not the ones who hold a lot of MoveQuest that sell. It's the ones that hold a little bit that sell. And so you don't want the ones that hold a little bit to have a lot more by only having 9 doc slots open, because they're just going to sell more. So you open up the additional 9 doc slots, increase the mining difficulty. The holders, they do spend the money to unlock those doc slots. That becomes liquidity. Okay, it pads the liquidity pool for the additional 500 that are being added. And 9 times out of 10, those are going to be your holders. Then on July 13th, we're going to increase it from 3,000 to 3,500. Okay, so now your miners that are mining with all 18 slots, they're going to see that increase. Another bump in the amount of MoveQuest. Okay, you understand mining, when you're mining a token, you are the supplier when the demand is there. So every time a miner, a person who's mining, and they claim those tokens that they're mining, if they sell them before the demand is there, you defeat the purpose of mining the token. Because the only way to get the token is to mine it or to buy it. There are no giveaways here. Hence, remember the scammer thing I showed you guys. Never forget that. I mean, seriously, jump out of Telegram if you're in there. And then on August 3rd, we're going to bump it up from 35 to a minimum of 4,000. However, if the amount of mining slots have increased above whatever the algorithm is calling for, I haven't gone and looked at it today, is it changes. It could even go as high as putting in the additional 5,000 a day. And then from there, it'll increase from 5,000 up to the 7,200. So the 9 additional DAX slots was very, very important, okay, to the increase of the MoveQuest, which we have to do. Okay, it is part of our tokenomics. We've got to get to where 7,200 MoveQuest tokens are distributed on a daily basis based on our light paper. A percentage of those are allocated to the hatchery, okay, for the hatchery reward. But anything outside of that hatchery reward has got to be in the mining pool. We have to get there. So when people were questioning why we did this, it is a strategic move to get us where we need to be. Opening up those additional 9 doc slots is going to increase your mining power. Those of you who have noticed that the evolution fees have changed, that's all because of this dynamic right here. So it was able to adjust that on the evolution side because this made such an impact on the ecosystem. So it's just the way the things work. Now, I'm not going to go over all this. I've already told you guys this 3 weeks ago. We do have the company, MoveQuest Labs is the company, the developer company for MoveQuest, the crypto project. Okay, we are registered in the United States out of Wyoming because they are crypto friendly. We do have a DUNS number. We do hold the EIN. All of our developer credentials, everything is available if people want to see that, but not the DUNS number because that's private for credit purposes for MoveQuest Labs. But all of this is now in play. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to a spreadsheet. Sorry, because I know my spreadsheets can sometimes get confusing. I just want to show you basically I started running this to show people where we were from May 11th. Okay, the market value was $11.16. Now, from May 11th, you can see here the sells. Okay, if it's in red, that means there was overselling of 4,826 MoveQuest tokens. Then it was the next day 773. But then on Wednesday, it bumped up where there was actually more buys than sells. 744 were bought. But if you go through all of the days from and there was a major, so somebody must have done some major selling on the 12th because it was like a $45,000 sell off. Not one person, but it was just a heavy selling day. It dropped from 1116 to 952. But it averages out in the last 2 days have kind of been over the top. What I'm guessing is it's people who are selling their MoveQuest and then want to unlock their dock slots. Okay, that's fine. If that's what people are doing, it just goes back into the liquidity pool anyway. But if you really want to keep the market value up, those of you who don't have to do that, I wouldn't recommend it. You'll help stabilize the market value of the token. But on the other hand, it kind of is doing a favor because now it's allowing that liquidity pool to stable even more, and then it can start to drive that market value back up. So you can see here, the pool, if you look at it, well, on June 3rd, now it had adjusted itself where it was only $3,813, okay? Because from the ecosystem, it had balanced it out enough where here there was an overselling of 45,000. But as you see, like here, there was an addition of 7,000, an addition of 17,000, addition of another 17,000, addition of 9,000. So it was starting to balance itself out to where here it was only overselling of $3,800 from the liquidity. But then the last 2 days have gotten kind of silly, and now it's at 23,000 overselling since May 11th. But if you look at the dates, that's really not bad. So the ecosystem does a really good job of balancing everything out. And basically, it's just telling you that there was, 3,070 MoveQuest tokens that were sold in the last 24 hours. And then I'll just keep track of it all the way till July. Well, I'll keep track of it even past July 1st, but be able to give you guys an update. So the ecosystem really does do a pretty good job of balancing itself out. Oh, let me see. I went through all of that. I'm trying to think. Oh, I wanted to come over to, now I can hide this. Come on here real quick. I'm going to just pause this for a second because I want to make sure I don't have any of my wallet stuff open. Okay, I don't. I'm super careful when I'm on Zooms because I don't trust anything. All right, so let me unpause. Come back over here to MoveQuest. All right. You will notice that the system, the ecosystem, this is not a promo, guys, okay? This is the new adjusted fees for the evolution. And you'll also, even in the future, like as the community begins to grow, this could adjust again. It takes a lot for it to adjust, but because of those 18 slots, the projected increase in MoveQuest, some different factors, it did adjust your navigators. If you want to upgrade them, it dropped from 50 to 20. And from Trailblazer to Explorer, it dropped from 50 to 30. And then from Explorer to Vanguard, it dropped from 75 to 50, but it did not change the Titan. Okay, Vanguard to Titan. And it takes a lot to change that because your Titans here in the next probably, I would say 7 to 14 days, they're going to start to increase the mining power up to 1,000% and above that because of the bonus mining power that every single miner gets, either from the attributes and then, of course, the element. So those Titans are a big deal. And when it reaches that 1,000 mining power, 1,000% mining power, it locks. That miner will always retain 1,000% mining power. So when the MoveQuest locks, for example, let's say you want to come in a navigator, $50, right? And right now it would take about 8 MoveQuest tokens. Well, when the algorithm triggers to lock that MoveQuest on these miners, that means it would always take 8 MoveQuest. It doesn't matter if MoveQuest is $5,000, okay? If MoveQuest hit $5,000, it would still take 8 MoveQuest tokens. That means that now that navigator is $40,000. Times that by 10, that makes a Titan $400,000. Now, when you want to sell, and if we get miners that are that high, that means we've got a massive community here, and this is really kicking butt, right? Everybody has gone berserko for MoveQuest. You know how they say cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? People will be cuckoo for MoveQuest. And those Titans, people won't be able to mine or mint these miners anymore. And when you have a marketplace, and those of you who have those extra miners, if you get them up to 1,000% mining power, can you imagine what you'll be able to sell them for on the marketplace? And so this is where the gamification comes in, the competitive side of this comes in, and this is going to be available here very, very soon. Like literally, we're right there. 7 to 14 days, we're going to turn that on. And all of you who have those Titans, and this is only for Titans. Okay, none of the other miners can increase their mining power. The only way to increase your mining power is through the Titans, and you do that through, submitting, increasing your physical activity, and each one individually. Maybe you didn't increase your maybe your sleep decreased but your steps increased. That will increase your mining power. Being consistent will increase your mining power. Joining challenges will increase your mining power. Now, if you slack off and you're not submitting, they'll decrease their mining power right back down to 400%. But if you get it up to that 1,000%, it locks and it stays. Then you can actually swap out those Titans for new Titans that are at 400%, and you can start ramping up their mining power. Get them to lock at that 1,000%, because those are going to be the most valuable on the marketplace. Now, when the leasing comes out, those of you who do have the Titans, you can lease them out, and others will be able to help you get that mining power increased on those Titans so that they can lock at the 1,000%. So that gamification part, that's all getting ready to get started. Update on the Apple iStore. What a nightmare. So nothing technical. All of the code is passed. Now it's just like UI stuff. We are not compatible on an iPad. You cannot use an iPad for the proof of physical activity. You can't submit on it. It doesn't work on an iPad. But they want us to visually make it look like it does. And so, like the keypad, when you set the PIN code, the 0 was cut off. Little silly things like that. They're all like, but that's fine, right? The standards for test flight are not as high as the standards are for the Apple Store. And so we are slowly, working through these. Today they rejected it because whoever the tester was didn't find the credentials for the test account. So what do? We just send it over to them again, which is really stupid that they couldn't find the credentials, because we've only submitted like 7 versions of this over the last 7 or 10 days. So I really don't know that there's much more they can reject it on. We've really gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. And like I said, it's all UI stuff. So as soon as, they don't have anything else to nitpick at, we'll be in the Apple Store, and then we'll really start busting through this. I was going to introduce the first project that's going to be mining with us, but I think I'm going to hold off for just a few days, simply because I still feel like we have to get some more details, some more information, working on trying to integrate some other training modules from Brandon Ivy's courses along with this other project as well, getting their tokenomics right down flat. But what I will tell you is this. I was able to help design the tokenomics. They have a self-funding ecosystem because they can build on MoveQuest, right? The miners you already have allow you to mine other projects' tokens as well. They are not having a pre-sale. They're not having a liquidity raise. They don't have any allocation of tokens either. You either have to buy them or mine them. Their allocation is going to be lower for the mining pool than what MoveQuest was, where we were doing 2,500. I think they're going to be doing somewhere between 500 and 1,000. You'll be able to start mining these tokens. Not 100% sure on the dates. I'm not going to release that yet either. And then for 90 days, you'll be mining the token, and your submissions, you're able to take that token and add it to the hatchery. You won't get miners from their hatchery, but you'll be able to earn additional hatchery rewards from their token. based on certain numbers and different things, it's very likely that that liquidity pool would start out anywhere from 2.5 million to a $10 million liquidity pool. I'm not even joking with you, because we're able to look at, okay, what could we have done a little bit better with MoveQuest? We did have to do the liquidity raise to list. They don't have to do the liquidity raise to list because they get to use our ecosystem. And so the bit of difference there. And this is what we do for projects. MoveQuest, when projects come to MoveQuest, we actually help them become a very strong project with strong tokens, tokenomics, liquidity. And so you're going to see a token that probably could even blow above MoveQuest. Now, by having that project, it doesn't affect MoveQuest. Why? Because MoveQuest is the gatekeeper. Okay, you have to submit MoveQuest first in order to open up the other projects and submit for theirs. You get to pick and choose the projects that you want to submit for after you have submitted for MoveQuest. So any project we bring in is only going to have a positive impact on the MoveQuest liquidity. But because I was able to look at, should we have started out with 2,500 MoveQuest tokens right from the beginning? No, we probably shouldn't have, but we did. And so they are able to do their token distribution schedule, not like Bitcoin, but even tighter than what Bitcoin was, better than what Bitcoin was, by starting out with less until the community is at the right size in a different halving schedule. So the dynamics are completely different with a max supply of 21 million. And I really believe that you'll see that token list anywhere, it could be as low as $1, it could be as high as 22.50, with much less in circulation, creating a higher demand for that token. It's going to be so awesome to watch, and to be able to, help other projects do very, very well with their market value, with the utility behind the token, using a self-funding ecosystem. We've got another project that'll be coming up behind them, doing almost the identical thing. What does that mean for the community? It just means more money in your pocket. And you get to mine using the miners that you already have. You don't need new miners to mine their token. You just have to be active in the MoveQuest ecosystem. You do have to submit on MoveQuest first. That is the gatekeeper. And then once you've done that, it unlocks and opens the gate to any other project that is using our platform, our ecosystem. So hopefully everybody's excited about that. There's so many things that are taking place. I have a list of all the additions that are coming. I'm going to save that for next week because I already think I've taken more time. I said it was going to be a short update call, and I've already taken an hour. So Herschel, back at you, bud.
Wonderful, wonderful. That was a lot, but all good information. Two things I wanted to touch on there. You mentioned there at the end that as new projects are coming into this ecosystem, MoveQuest, as you stated, is the gatekeeper, meaning any of these projects and their communities will have to submit on MoveQuest, thus adding liquidity to MoveQuest in order to mine their project's token. That I just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that. Am I correct?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes, correct, 100%.
Okay. And the other thing was, and I know you'll get me for this later, but earlier when you were speaking in reference to the increase in power on the Titans, that
Yes.
I believe I heard you say that we would like to have that ready within the next 7 to 14 days in an ideal scenario. If it takes longer, that's possible, but that's the time frame we would like to see it in. Is that a fair statement?
So it's already ready to go, but we really are kind of waiting on getting into the app store, and that would, because then we're able to add the boosts and do some other things. And right now the developers are really laser focused on getting everything into the app store, and I really don't want to throw anything else on their plate until we get this done. And that's why I say 7 to 14 days, because I'm allowing for another week of rejections from Apple. You know what I mean? I got to plan for the worst. And then I figure give them another 5 to 7 days for them to get the UI and everything ready on that Titan miner. And, so it's really more about time. It takes time to get all this stuff implemented. But really, other than that, it's really for the most part ready to go. The testing and all that stuff is pretty minimal. Um, but I really need to keep their focus on the App Store right now.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. Well, that is all I have, Miss Lynette.
Well, let me add one more thing too,
Sure.
because I was looking at the Q&A here.
Okay.
So we are fully expecting Binance to be up and operational on August 3rd. That is our goal. I can't guarantee, but that is the plan. And I cannot 100, I can't give you complete updates yet on Binance. I'm just going to let you know right now that we're really working diligently to have that ready to roll by August 3rd. Now, with that being said, I want everybody to understand something. Just because you're a part of MoveQuest doesn't qualify you for matching miners. You have to be active in the ecosystem. Okay, meaning this. Anybody who is on Avalanche and you are not on the Binance Smart Chain, as long as you're actively submitting at least 30 days prior to the matching miners going out, you will be able to claim miners for the Binance Smart Chain. So, example, if you're mining with 18 Titans on Avalanche and you've submitted for 30 straight days prior to whatever day it is that we introduce claim your miners, you're going to be able to roll over to the Binance Smart Chain and you're going to be able to claim 18 Titans for the Binance Smart Chain. If you are mining with 9 navigators and you've been submitting every day, 30 consecutive days, you will be able to claim 9 navigators for the Binance Smart Chain. It won't cost you a dime. Now, we'll offer that for 7 days. That's it. And then after that, we're closing that door. We're doing that so that everybody who's on Avalanche doesn't feel like they have to spend more money to mine on the Binance Smart Chain. We will make sure you have those miners for the Binance Smart Chain, but you've got to be actively engaged in the ecosystem because that's how you are going to be able to qualify for those miners. So I just want to let everybody know, yes, the Binance Smart Chain is very much still being worked on. Everything is being ironed out, and the miners, the community will be able to roll right over to the Binance Smart Chain, and you'll be able to, operate and submit there as well. Now, I also wanted to mention too, just real quick, when we're talking about, what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought, darn it. I don't even know what I was going to say. Literally was here and gone. So never mind. I'll think of it. I'll tell you guys what it was. But it's been a long day. My head starts to hurt about this time of night. What in the heck was I going to say? I don't even know. But anyway, we are absolutely working on the Binance Smart Chain. Kai Chain, I cannot tell you. I'm not doing anything with Kai Chain at this point in time. I have tried to get a hold of Rod, who is the creator of the Kai Chain. He has not responded. I do see they've done work on the Explorer, but I think honestly we're the main ones on that chain. And so no, I'm not gonna I cannot guarantee anything for the Kai chain. And if he doesn't respond, if I don't get an update, we will be removing the Kai chain. So everybody hold off on Kai chain at the moment. Not much I can do about that. And I really wish that I could think of what I was going to say about Binance Smart Chain. But just know, yes, it's coming very quickly. And that's it.
All right. And one last thing before we go, as far as the new projects that's coming on board, just so everybody be clear, you have the option to mine those tokens. They don't just come automatically when you submit for MoveQuest. We will
Correct.
have the option to submit the same physical activity that we are submitting for MoveQuest we can use that same physical activity and submit and get their token, but that is a separate transaction fee. Is that correct?
Yep, it'll be a separate submission fee.
Okay. Okay. And will those be the same as MoveQuest, or would that be some variable or some a difference?
It could be different. It'll be up to that project. They set their own fees and they have their own contracts, and it's completely, operated by them. So they're building on our platform, but they have full control.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'll know more about that once we get a little bit closer to them actually going live. Perfect. And hopefully before they launch, we can actually have them come meet the community and share, what their vision and direction is with their projects as well. So definitely look forward to that. Well, once again, Mr. Lett, we appreciate your time once again. There's a lot of exciting news, a lot of things, a lot of action taking place within the ecosystem. So I'm definitely happy to see things continue to move forward. Everybody else, we
I
want
wanted to say, hang on. I want to
to.
answer one more question here because this
Okay.
is kind of important. Sorry, guys. So
Okay.
somebody asked, would you suggest opening more decks or evolving? So what I would do if I were you is, so for example, if you're looking at Titans, that's 400% minimum mining power per deck slot. Navigators, it's 50% mining power per deck slot. Add up the mining power that you would have if you unlocked 18 deck slots. And if otherwise, look at, okay, this is what I have. I have maybe, let's say you have 9 miners. If you were to evolve those 9 miners up, would it give you more mining power in 9 dock slots with the money that you have to spend? What would give you the best? Would you have greater mining power unlocking dock slots and plugging in existing miners that you already have without evolving them? Or would you have more mining power, evolving them, only using 9 dock slots or 11 dock slots or whatever it is that's within your budget? And go with what is going to give you the highest mining power for the least amount of money that fits into your budget. You always want to go for what's giving you the highest mining power. So just because you unlock, let's say you've got navigators, right? If you were to unlock 18 slots in mine with 18 navigators, what does that give you? 18, that's going to give you what, 900% mining power? That's equal to a little more than 2 Titans, okay? But if you were to evolve them up to, let's say, vanguards, and that would give you 8 vanguards times 200, you got 1600% mining power, which is giving you the equivalent of 4 Titans. So you kind of got to do the math and see what's going to give you the highest mining power that fits within your budget. So I hope that helped to answer that question there. And then another thing is coming up on, I do not know why people can't swap MoveQuest on MetaMask. I have no clue. I don't sell MoveQuest. I'm not going to sell MoveQuest to test it. But you can go to Sushi Swap and you can swap it there. I do not have an answer on what is going on with MetaMask, except for they've become what used to be my favorite wallet to becoming my least favorite because they have been so problematic. And I don't have an answer. I don't know if you do, Herschel, or not.
I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes in their, whether you call it algorithms or smart contracts or what have you. When you swap directly inside of MetaMask, all it's doing is they have, smart contracts in place that go out to the Uniswap, Sushi Swap, or what have you, and actually do those conversions for you and bring it back. If you were using any other wallet, like Trust Wallet or Token Pocket or anything else, you can't swap in those wallets either. And the way to do it would be to actually go to the exchange that the token is actually listed on. We do have some videos floating around with showing how to do that on Sushi Swap as well as on Uniswap. But yeah, don't let that be a deterrent. It's a very easy process. And actually, on the website, matter of fact, let me go ahead and share my screen real quick, because that's an easy one to knock out. One quick second. Make sure. Yeah, I'll do that right there. And all right, can you see my screen, Mr. Net?
Yep, I can.
All right, with the MetaMask. Okay, so if you're on a desktop, and this works the exact same way. If you are on your phone, you just go through the browser of your wallet, and you can go directly to MoveQuest.com. And when you go to MoveQuest.com, right here on the dashboard, it has buy MQT. If you click right here, that button that says buy, it literally will take you straight to SushiSwap, and it'll automatically show your tokens and everything in the wallet. And if you wanted to swap some MQT into AVAX, I mean, you literally would just put a 1 here. If I wanted to swap 1, click approve, and it does the exact same thing that it does inside the wallet. And then you just click confirm, and you're done. And when you go back to your wallet, the swap has been done or what have you. So it's a quick, simple, easy process, just by going straight to SushiSwap and making sure your wallet is connected and performing the transaction. And it's the same thing if you want to go back the opposite direction. I don't know. Guess I don't have that much. It would be literally the exact same thing. Just hit swap and go back the opposite direction to put it back and confirm. So that's one that all of us can access pretty easily. So again, if you want to see that again or what have you, we'll make sure that those videos are posted in the Discord and everybody has access to them. But pretty simple. All right. Well, if that's all you have, Miss Lynette, that's all I have, and we can go ahead and call it a night and let everybody go ahead and start earning that as well. For those here in the US, it's bedtime, so we can go ahead and start earning while we sleep.
Yes, and everybody's probably going, finally, she's done.
A lot of wonderful information, Miss Lynette. Once again, we thank you. And to everyone else, we want to thank you for being here with us this evening also, but we're going to go ahead and sign out. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, you ready? Let's get moving. Everybody on your feet, let's go. Feel the burn, huh? Yeah, MoveQuest, baby. Woo! Let's get it started. Step up, let's go, you know what to do. MoveQuest in the house, time to break through. Lace up your shoes, burn it up, no slack. Crypto's on the rise while we're on the track. Run, jump, walk, hustle all day. Every step's a win, that's the MoveQuest way. Calories burning, we earn as we play. Earning MQT, no delay, no sway. Move your body, we on fire. Crypto flowing higher and higher. Burn, earn, and feel the heat. MoveQuest, baby, get off your seat. Let's get it moving, we're burning up. Step by step, yeah, we're rising up. Feel the rush, feel the beat. MoveQuest, the rhythm got you on your feet. Let's get it moving, we're burning fast. Every step counts, we're making it last. With every move you earn and grow. MoveQuest, baby, let's go, let's go. Hustle on the move, no stopping.